Give us any chance, we'll take it. Read us any rule, we'll break it. We're gonna make our dreams come true.
Welcome to Net After Net, a podcast about 8 seasons in a row. I am Lisa Fernandes, and
I am Chris Jayawardena.
And we're going to review the 5th episode of the 2nd season of Laverne and Shirley, Bridal Shower. Directed by Alan Myerson, and written by Paula A. Roth and Judy Skelton. I'm sure you have some information on them, don't you, Chris?
A little bit. Paula mostly went on to work on a ton more Laverne and Shirley episodes. Judy only did one more after this, and then Paula went on to do Love Boat episodes and worked as a story consultant on Happy Days in the 80s. Which I almost wonder if that's a little telling about the quality of Laverne and Shirley, that when Happy Days was kind of reaching its sort of almost twilight years, that they were starting to pull people from Laverne and Shirley onto it.
Yeah.
Makes me kind of wonder about that. And for Alan Myerson, I mean, he did a bunch of episodes of season 1. He's one of the most common directors for Laverne and Shirley. So at this point, all we can really just say is, hi, Alan.
Hi, Alan. Thanks for your service, Alan.
We thank you very much for good quality television.
Okay, and this is what happens during the episode. Laverne and Shirley are horrified to learn that they're the last single members out of 25 girls who made up their childhood club, the Angora Debs. An invitation to Eleanor Stefanick's bridal shower soon arrives in the mail, and worse yet, it's at Big Rosie Greenbaum's place. Rosie's a proctologist's wife who never hesitates to lord her wealth over Laverne's head, and the two of them have hated each other for years. Both girls face down Eleanor's shower with shame, but end up turning the event on its head, especially when Laverne meets up with Rosie. Meanwhile, Lenny and Squiggy prepare for a date with immortality as Lenny trains to break a marshmallow stuffing record. What'd you think of this one?
Gosh, I need to find a way to start my what did you think about this better. But I enjoy this episode, given that it was wonderfully kind of women-centric episode. I really like seeing, especially for, when do you figure this aired in 1976. To see it was written by women. It has focus on women, and I like that. I like those types of things because it's kind of like, for me as a dude, it's like this peek into another world, and not in some lurid fashion, but more realistically. I love that it treats the relationships rather, naturally. I love the fact that Laverne's rage at Rosie, makes a lot of sense. And Rosie Greenbaum, Carole Ita White is amazing, as this wonderful character, just this wonderful presence. As I had mentioned when she showed up in season 1, she almost seemed like a character out of like a John Waters movie.
Yes.
And here that kind of feels a little further too. It's got that same sort of almost kind of like B-movie sort of comedy, sort of very broad, and broad isn't big, by the way.
Yes.
And just it's a wonderful foil for Laverne, because she's big and talks kind of slower, whereas Laverne is so kind of very intense and aggressive and kind of feisty. And so the bickering is really good. I mean, it's definitely, the pacing of the episode at times takes a bit of a hit, I think, because of its energy, the way that it has to, but it's it can never really lean too hard into any one direction. But at the same time, that's also kind of like what it's like to have those people in your life that are, you can't stand them, but at the same time, you've had a lot of good times, you've had memories, and even though the relationship is aggressive, God, I sad to say, even I now have friends like that, within the Portland film community, that we don't really talk much, but we also kind of have like I see you and it's okay, kind of, And then occasionally on Facebook, things get a little heated.
It's adversarial friendship. This gets really highlighted further down the season during Honeymoon Hotel. Where the girls become friendly in spite of themselves, so to speak. There has never been a better foil for the Laverne character than Rosie. And Carole Ita White plays her to perfection with this wonderful Mae Westian almost notes. Kind of like a very, very tough Mae West. As you said, she's a John Waters heroine in a lot of ways. And you can kind of see that.
Yeah, it's...
in the way she walks, the confident struts, with her little fox wrapped around her neck, and she doesn't give a damn. This is her house. This is her world. And, look at how far she's come, basically.
Which it says a lot then that they're having the bridal shower at her place, that it probably was her idea and she insisted. And, and Eleanor was probably, it was a case of, just the place was good. I'm assuming that for her to have the bridal shower there is mostly because either that, one of the other Debs, recommended it because of the size or because of the practicality. But yeah. And I feel so sorry for Eleanor as Stefanik, as Eleanor Stefanik watches everything unfold.
Yeah.
I feel so much sympathy for her.
Yeah. Because in a way, she had to have expected. She's known most of these women for most of her life, and she knows what it's like when they get in the same room together. On the other hand, it's her wedding. It's her bridal shower. It's her wedding shower. They could be quiet and let her have her moment of glory.
Nope.
But there's so many, this episode has such a strong feminist message this way, because we start out with the girls being really ashamed of the fact that they're single. And everybody's complaining that they're single, and they're complaining they're single. And then they have this really fabulous speech. They're like, yeah, we get to do whatever we want. We can be wherever we want. We can stay out late. We can eat a bunch of different restaurants, see a bunch of different guys, and you guys are home. Seeing the same man. Again.
Yeah.
Again.
Night.
Again. Again.
Night after night, even.
Who wants to look at the same broad night after night?
Who wants to look at the same boy at night after night?
There you go.
There you go. Just flip it around. Now I just want to hear Joe and Jet cover that song now.
Oh my god! I was gonna say there needs to be a feminist version of Lenny and the Swingtones. Yeah. Yeah, I want a gender flipped all girl version of that. Come on, universe, provide. Anyway, go ahead. As we were saying.
Well, but yeah, I mean, I was just adding the joke, but I agree with what you're saying though, is that those points about the they don't allow one certain thing to kind of keep them down, and they try to find sort of it. I guess the message of it comes down to the perspective of knowing yourself, what you want, and what makes you happy. Because I also like that, when Eleanor they're saying, we kind of put everything down, and they're kind of like, we're like, oh crap, did we give her this possibility of second thoughts? And her response is that, I know being single isn't perfect, being married isn't perfect, and Sal isn't even perfect, but I love him and I want to marry him. And that I felt I think that's also a really good way of responding to that, is not just, it's about choice. It's about the freedom for them to choose the way that they want.
Yeah, exactly. And that's something that the show kind of goes back to and stays on that singular pathway when it comes to the girl's opinion about their singleness. And sometimes it takes a complete left and goes, no, marriage. So this depends on the episode, but in this episode is such a good mission statement about how their friendship is the most important thing. Yeah,
absolutely.
It's more important than guys. It's more important than even marriage and children. Yeah, it's just it's beautiful. It's beautiful in its own way, but that is probably the one of the show's stronger feminist statements so far.
Seems like it.
So,
yeah.
This episode is loaded with classic lines, by the way.
Oh, certainly.
It has one of my favorite hello gags. Something that cries, burps, and wets its pants. Hello.
Oh God, the timing of that is amazing.
Yes.
And the this is road work. That's bridge work. This is road work. Yep. And
I love that the boys just wanted to share a pizza with them. It's well, it's just a cheap out so they can get it for free. Let's pretend we're on a date. It's
oh my gosh, that's good.
So how many pity dates have been on the boy? I guess not pity dates, but just regular. They go out with them.
Right.
More than once. So it's kind of well, why not? Free food, but they're already out. They're already headed out the door, so to speak. Yeah.
And all this stuff with Edna, it's one little appearance, but God, it's so good. And then what is it? The bath, it's flooded, and the last time they have to call the Coast Guard, and then of course Laverne, without a beat, missing a beat, she knows exactly the Coast Guard's number.
Yeah.
She has a thing for
so many sailors.
Yeah, she has a thing for the sailors. Yeah, because Falter at the Altar definitely made that clear.
Yep. So many sailors all the time.
And I love the Edna's reaction. I don't understand any of my tenants. My God. And I love you, marry me.
Edna is the best. Edna is the best. I will say it again and again and again.
Yep. And
she really is.
And for the girls themselves, I mean, Laverne is amazing at just the timing and rhythm and bouncing off of Carole Ita White, or off of Rosie, I should say. And
yes.
And I also loved Cindy in this episode. There's lots of movement, nuances. She's having to hit so many different marks. She's like really, it's planned, but it feels spontaneous sort of thing. It's so like she's all over the place. It's just so much energy. And this is a wonderful example of how the girls are really scrappy, and they're definitely catty when they're pissed, and they have reasons to be pissed. It's like you really feel like you're in it with them in this one.
Yeah. You're just waiting for that moment where they finally get to go off.
Yeah.
And they do get to go off.
Oh, yes.
And their point is just like rock solid. They just bullseye it, and it's terrific.
Mm-hmm.
And it's perfectly staged, perfectly directed, perfectly written.
The part and the whole party being so all about Eve style, it's just it's great.
Yeah. I still have a line. Laverne was shaking. I don't know. She looks down on herself, like trying to figure out what's shaking. I love that film line.
And that delivery of bimbo, killed me.
Yeah, just drowns the fox right in the punch bowl.
And the punch bowl, and then Cheryl picks it up and squeals.
Yeah.
Oh.
You drowned my fox.
Sweet vengeance. Yep.
Drown my fox.
And it's interesting to see as another reunion episode similar to the Nun story that it does resolve itself with a song, which definitely seems it's a very Laverne and Shirley thing, is that they find a way to bring people together through song. They remember that they're all one, this, and and it seems like a very Gary Marshall sort of thing too, that it's very, what's the word I'm looking for? It's idyllic, that at our worst, a song of friendship or a song of unity can bring us back together. Yeah.
That's really good. Like in the way that everything is staged within the episode, you can see how they were all friends at one point, how they were all close at one point, and how they've kind of stayed together and yet drifted.
Mm-hmm.
As they've grown into different people, as Rosie became richer, as the girls stayed, blue collar, became bottle cappers. Yeah, and you can see that thread, that like warmth.
Mm-hmm.
It just kept them together and kept them going as friends. I was going to ask who your favorite was among all of the Angora Debs that we see.
I mean, I really had a soft spot for Eleanor just because, I love that she had lost the weight, because we didn't get a chance to talk about that, the fat shaming BS.
Yeah.
But I was always kind of rooting for her, especially because, when this is, she's getting ready for this big leap, and she seems really happy with who she's marrying. And so I was definitely rooting for her, I think, perhaps most of all. But I did like, I think it was Crystal, I think, Barbara Brownell. She was good. I made sure to make a note of that I did like her as well. But of the Debs, I think Eleanor Stefanik is the one that I was sort of saying, like, come on, you gotta make it through this. You gotta move beyond it. And also, I think if she's like practically like almost second to last getting married out of the Debs, then it's a reminder that she as well, kind of similar to Laverne and Shirley, she was kind of at that point of like wondering, gosh, is this going to work out for me? And that she landed with somebody, and it's unfortunate. So we're not going to see her again after this episode, right?
Eleanor, we actually do see in a season 6 episode.
Oh, good.
She comes back.
Okay, cool.
She comes back.
Cool. Yeah, because I like to see what happens to her, just to check in, and also just to see more of the Debs in general would be fantastic. I love the energy of them, even just the background actors that are filling it out. They're wonderful with little details, the way they kind of like have sometimes knowing looks at each other when they're watching something happen. There's really good use of mediums and wides that fill the space with a lot of people. Yeah. The way this was directed was masterful in a lot of different ways. Like I said, the script is filled with one-liners. Mm-hmm.
Really great one-liners, like, she married God. Talk about landing your Mr. Right.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. I love that line.
Or how Rosie grabbed the brass ring by marrying Ogden.
Right.
Like, if you think about, like, ring, proctologist.
Yep.
Don't think too hard about that one, kids.
It's what we in the business like to call a euphemism. Yeah. But coming back to what I realized I mentioned earlier is that, yeah, it's the one detriment to this episode really is or one of the major detriments was the fat shaming thing about like those whoop, it's yeah. And I mean, I don't know if anyone can tell from my voice, but yeah, I've been overweight all my life. I basically, and it's not even necessarily, people would, can say all these things about, why. The truth of it was a medical thing. I had to take prednisone when I was a kid for asthma. And so I gained a lot of weight by the time I was 4. And it's a side effect of the prednisone at the time. I don't think it does that anymore. I think they found a way to synthesize that out, but it's a thing you deal with. And it's unfortunate to see a show that is so progressively feminist in this episode to then have to still make it a bit about image and the whole they resolve it I think at the end, but it's the whole gotta get married, feeling ashamed of not being married yet. But I could have done without the I mean, my note actually is like, as soon as it's the fat shaming, that's like, what does it say about her getting married before you? It's like, how's that sting, girls? How's it feel knowing you ain't married and you're the one you picked on is? I have thoughts. I have thoughts.
Yeah, like it's unfortunate. It's one of the show's weakest points. This and the rape humor still isn't funny. It's not funny. Right. I don't know if it ever was funny, so to speak. Mm-hmm. But it's just the show is better than that. It can do better than that. It does do better than that. Just like it's unfortunate. It's just like a waste of the talent and the writer, even the writer's talents. So. Whenever I think about it, I'm like, ugh, this doesn't need to exist. There's no reason for it to exist. So.
And it is a bummer because it's like for all it's like the little thing that holds it back. But but that's it. But all said, I mean, despite that, in spite of those aspects that frustrate, it's a wonderfully, as you said, hilarious episode. I'm looking back through some of my notes and I forgot about the ordering of the pizza. The ordering the pizza and put shoes on it. It's going for a walk. Yeah. One anchovy's on my side. It's like, let the fish swim on half of it. God, it's one of those, like, I can't believe I've never heard those elsewhere because that's such a quotable idea.
Yeah. I think, that's the lingo that Laverne's like developed over the years working at her father's restaurant. So that's how that came out and that's how it spilled out. And how it became a part of her cadence, so to speak, when she's ordering pizza for her own father.
The proper pizza bowl vernacular.
Pizza bowl vernacular. I was gonna say what you thought. What do you think of the boys' marshmallow stuffing?
I mean, because I've heard stories of people getting seriously actually hurt from the whole chubby bunny things. It didn't make me necessarily super comfortable. But I did think it was cute, and I do. Oh my god, the timing at the end when they come in and like it's an emergency. And the timing of it's like are you sure? You seem kind of upset, and are you sure you should drive? And Squeaky's like, yeah, that's right. And he hands the keys to Lenny. It's like, here, you should drive. And Michael's eye roll at that delivery is perfectly. Yeah. It's just it's so good.
Yeah. The fact that they even think of doing this is somehow the most them thing you could think of. Just like, we're gonna get famous by shoving food into our faces and then swallowing. And then
the two aspects also I love about it. They have to make an announcement of it at the pizza bowl to everybody on the microphone at the beginning of the episode, and especially when David chucks Michael off stage, to bring brings him up and then whoop, there he goes. And I love the oh god, I can't remember the second other detail about the that Lenny doesn't even like marshmallows anyway, and Laverne's like, yeah, I do, and so she basically, snagged the bag.
Yep. And starts trying to shove everything into her mouth, and we cut from there.
Yep.
So we find out if she ended up in the hospital next to him, knowing the two of them.
Yeah, that's that could have been its own episode, its own hospital episode.
We do get a hospital episode, a different hospital episode coming up.
Yeah, with hopefully less ether masks.
Yes, there is. A lot less. Jeesh. God, that mess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was going to say, the DVD cut here finally starts to reveal 1, 2, 3. The DVD cut here finally starts to rear its ugly head. We get some obvious musical substitutions. Carmine's entire opening number gets cut.
Oh, wow.
And, which is unfortunate for like Eddie Mecca, and it's unfortunate for the way the show ought to be preserved. But I wanted to make note of that. We got another one coming up, because I know the next episode Inside and Out.
So that's interesting. So yeah, we're gonna have to kind of keep track of those as we go.
Oh yeah. Some of them are extremely obvious. Some of them are painful. Some of them will irritate and annoy to levels untold.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I was gonna ask, where do you want to rank this one?
So I'm gonna say probably like I'd say like a 7.5. It has some pacing issues, but like it's almost, I think like when I'm really in the mood for it, this would be like an 8. This would be one I would definitely jump for when I'm in the mood for it. And this is one I think I could find myself in the mood for, because I love the timing. I'd love to study the delivery and the use of the kind of longer takes and things like that. It's really good. It's definitely one of the strong ones so far. But yeah, 7.5 I think would be on most times. Yeah, 7.5 for me.
Solid 9 for me. Solid 9.
Wow. Nice.
I love the introduction of Rosie. It was a perfect introduction for her.
Mm-hmm.
I really, really love the way the girls interact, the way the girls triumph over basically what people have stereotyped them as these pathetic old maids. And the way they say to the audience, hey, just because you're single doesn't mean you're an old maid. You can have fun. You can go out there and do whatever the heck you want.
Good point.
I like the boys. The boys subplot is a lot of fun. It's probably the only, like, besides all the fat shaming garbage which we discovered, probably the only really, really weak part of the episode for me is the boys subplot, because I think there could be more to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I kind of wanted them to pop up in the background with like training and shoving more food into his mouth, trying to prepare himself for this nonsense that they're going to do.
Right.
But I also know why they didn't go there, because the grand majority of the episode takes place at the bridal shower,
right.
Which it ought to.
Yeah, the only way
they
could have worked it on, I suppose, at the front, where if they had an exterior for the apartment, for the building, and had the boys training on the opposite end of the street or something.
Yeah, or they're in front of the building and the girls just have to walk by them and pretend they don't know them.
Right.
Or something like that. Yeah, they could have gone in that direction. So, okay. Well,
cool.
Darn good little episode. Darn good little series this season. Like I keep saying, darn good little series this season.
Yeah, it's strong stuff. Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. And yeah, I mean, it's a lot of fun. It's some good laughs. So what do we have next week? More laughs?
Some tears. Mostly mine, because this is my absolute favorite episode of the series, and it's packed with emotions.
Oh dear.
Laverne thinks she might have become pregnant thanks to her activities at a brewery party, and everything in the episode is about the fallout from what may or may not have happened with her. And it's called Look Before You Leap.
Wow. Well, I guess we'll have to. Next time we're just gonna have to settle ourselves in for a very special Laverne and Shirley. Sounds good. Excellent. Well, I hope everybody will join us for that next time. And if you would like to stay in touch with us, we are found on the Book of Faces. We're also on the Little Blue Bird of Twitter. And also have a Patreon. And of course, obviously, Anchor and YouTube are our main distribution methods of this podcast. And you can find us at Night After Night Pod or Night Aft Night PC on Twitter. And we also do we try to do watch-alongs with the other fans and on the Twitter feed, and we'll be hopefully doing that some more in the interim.
Yes.
But any hoot, I think that's going to be all for us today, and so we hope to see you next time, and have yourself a good day, and I don't know, make sure to drink some water and treat yourself right. And you know what? If you're single, if you're with somebody, do your best to find the happiness that's within you and to be in a situation that benefits you. Yeah.
Don't drown your foxes, kids. Not now.